Hey, what's up? It's another 95X Live brought to you this time by Mess's Fireworks. Joining me today, a gentleman who has acquired so many awards over the course of time that it would take up all my time to list them off. Multi-platinum streamer, multi-platinum sales, a brand new single called Missing Piece. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vance Joy. How are you today, sir?
Very well, thank you, Dixon. I appreciate you having me on the show. Cheers, man.
I can't thank you enough for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. You're one of my wife's favorite artists, so she was absolutely giddy in leading up to this. And I'm well versed in your history, and I'm such a fan.
Legend.
And it's great to me to see such a prolific artist come from Australia. One of my favorite artists growing up was In Excess, so I've
Oh
always
man.
had a strange curiosity about the music industry in Australia, and you speak
Mm.
so well to that, having had the amount of success you have worldwide. Is there something in the water in the Southern Hemisphere that churns out such amazing music?
Yeah. I mean, I love In Excess too. I just watched their recent documentary. What's it called? Mystify. I love this recent documentary. I honestly I didn't know enough about In Excess, and even how big they were. But I'm a fan of their music, and also there's a lot of Australian artists that have inspired me over the years. I think I'm not sure. I know that in recent times there's been some special, music coming out of Australia, like with Tame Impala, Courtney Barnett, Flume, just a few great artists. But I'm not sure why it happens. I think maybe it helps that we have a very cool kind of platform for alternative music with an Australian radio station there called Triple J, and they have a thing called Triple J Unearthed, which allows like basically anyone who has a recording of their music to put it up on a database, and that database is huge, like thousands and thousands of songs. And there's a radio station specifically set up to play the music from this unearthed database. So I guess if you have a song and it sounds good, and it gets into the ears of the people at the station, and then it can find its way onto the air. So I think there's a lot of great access for artists, and also maybe from being so far away, maybe that it creates a certain microclimate or something, or some kind of removed situation where you can get some random artists. Like even when I think about those artists, like say Flume to Tame Impala to Courtney Barnett, they're all so they're so radically different from each other. Yeah, it's a cool thing. I'm not sure why, but yeah, I definitely I appreciate what you're saying about there's something in the water, perhaps. Yeah, maybe in the last few years there's been a special kind of rising of great music from here.
Absolutely. And I have a theory, and I worked this out with a friend last night in anticipation of getting to chat with you, because
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older. So the two things that come to mind, especially from the earlier days of Riptide,
Mm.
and even things like Saturday Sun, really to me speak to a couple of artists that I was very into when I was young. And it was Gordon Lightfoot and Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, which
Oh
couldn't be
wow.
two further things away from one another until you realize that if you took the idealism of Canada and put it on the
Mm.
west coast of the United States, that's kind of Australia.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love this theory. I mean, that's great. I know that the guy I've collaborated. Riptide, I wrote completely by myself. It was kind of like catching lightning in a bottle, I guess, that experience of writing songs. But when I wrote Saturday Sun, I had a guitar riff and I brought it to a guy I collaborate with regularly. His name's Dave Bassett. He lives in Malibu, and I drive on the way to his house every day along the Pacific Coast Highway, and so it's just a beautiful drive. And then I got there, I had this song, and he's a Beach Boys fan. Like he would just sit there and he'd listen to the songs, and he'd be like, he just he's a real fan. I remember playing a song, I think maybe for inspiration or something, with him, and he played a Beach Boys song. He's like, you got to listen to this album in detail. And he was saying, he's like, I just get chills. And it's funny, like there might be good vibrations or something, but I remember he was playing it, and yeah, for him it brings up, like he gets like overwhelmed, or like he gets chills listening to that song. And I like the idea of him. It's incredible, it sounds incredible, but it's also so there's like this this happiness and that kind of like uplifting, life affirming feeling that as well. Like for me, I sometimes tend to a more melancholy vibe. I know that they have that melancholy sound too, but anyway, I think I agree with what you're saying. I think that Australians, like, maybe it is this optimism that comes into the music. I definitely have gravitated that way in a bunch of songs, and it's almost like a weird balance of like uplifting and happy chords, but then also like some kind of minor feeling that comes in, which I've always gravitated to as well. So I don't know, it's kind of elusive, this thing, this like flavor that shows itself in some of the songs I'm most proud of.
Absolutely. There's a definitive juxtaposition for me with your music because uh, the word you used is so appropriate, melancholy. But at the same time, the lyrical content, the melodies always seem to have this rising bit of hope to them, which to
Mm,
me is ultimately the charm in what works, is because none of us are happy all the time or sad all the time. And we all exist in this space that I would call gray area between those two things.
mm.
And your music suits all of those moods, no matter what mood you're in. And I think it speaks volumes about your relatability and why you've had the success you have over the years, including this new single, Missing Piece, which is coming along at a perfect time to show that COVID could make people productive. You wrote this
Yeah.
song over the course of COVID
Mm,
via Zoom with a collaborator. And
yeah.
in my opinion, after a 3-year absence, this was a fantastic way to return and make a huge splash. So kudos to you on a fantastic song, but also for being so timely and in so many ways so honest with it.
Oh, thanks, Dixon. Yeah, I think yeah, I'm so glad that it's that things fell into place the way they did, and that we could release a song, and it seems to tell a story that people can relate to, and it resonates with people. It was a kind of a personal story that I was experiencing, being separated from my partner, and I was in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm over here now in Barcelona with her, but at the time travel was very difficult. But I think yeah, it's nice to have been able to be productive. I was a bit unsure if Zoom would actually work. Like writing over Zoom it's kind of very distanced, and I didn't know if the lag would get in the way of actually making something. But it worked. It's like, even if you're the same stuff, if you're excited and you've got some good ideas to bring to the table, you can come away with a good song. And I really had no idea how this song would react with people, but I played it to my parents last year, and I remember them saying, like, my mum was like, "When are you going to release this song? This is a song that I think people will connect with." And she kind of gave me the motivation. I wrote the bridge on a voice memo while I was here around Christmas time last year, because I was like, let's get this song done. We had basically a verse, chorus, and that was it, between me and Joel Little, who I wrote the song with. And I was like, okay, I write the bridge, I send it to him. He was like, I love this bridge. And then from there the ball got rolling, and we went back and forth over email, and at times it felt really slow that we couldn't just be in a room and just going bang bang bang, making all these decisions really quickly, but it still works, and I think you can still put in the same level of care. And yeah, I'm very this is nice to have a new song out, and also to just be motivated after releasing a song to just keep at it, and to be kind of being like, oh yeah, let's keep writing, let's like keep the ball rolling.
Absolutely. The world most certainly needs more songs from you, sir.
Oh,
Another thing that I love about your music is how cinematic it is and how well it lends itself to a visual medium. And I don't know that there's ever been a truer, more heartfelt moment than when Missing Piece aired during a very pivotal piece of Grey's Anatomy earlier this season.
mm.
Is this something that you're mindful of as you're writing? Are you one of the artists that has a visual in your head as you're writing the music, or is it something that happens coincidentally as part of your style?
I and that's a good question. I think initially it started happening coincidentally, but what I will say is that often when I write songs, I often stick to the same. I'm such a sucker for some chord progressions, and it's like that melancholy chord progression. I remember I had a guitar teacher back in the day, and he was like, look at the notes on this piece of music, and he's like, write a chord progression that fits. And I just wrote the same 4 chords that are in all the pop songs I love. And he was like, well, that's not exactly the way the exercise was supposed to work. But he's like, those chords do sound good together. And so when I hear great film music, like it might be Hans Zimmer or something, it might not be exactly that, but there is that kind of nice resolution that he does with those, four chords. And I definitely lean that way when I'm writing songs. And recently I had the opportunity, I can't say too much about it. I don't know, it's still kind of up in the air, but I got to have the opportunity to write a song for a film. And it was kind of funny because I was like, oh, my songs, the way I would write anyway, I'm doing what I would normally do. But it was nice to actually watch a scene and be like, I'm going to try and write to this. And I think I think it's a combination of the chords, but also, it's like something about, for this film, I was just trying to like make something kind of light and kind of with a bit of gusto and a bit of energy, and then open out into kind of a more kind of like 4-chord progression, like expansive, but also like you're saying, hitting that gray area of like happy, sad, and trying to find the direct line to the heartstrings, wherever that is, but just find the right words and the right melody. And sometimes you get that puzzle, right. And when you get it right, it feels amazing.
Well, it's interesting you use the word puzzle because you have a brand new single called Missing Piece. And I was told, and since I see a guitar in frame, that you're going to do a version of that for us now to play us out. Before we go, I just want to say thank you again for taking the time today for doing this. It's greatly appreciated. I adore getting to pick the minds of artists such as yourself. And I will plug our sponsor one last time. This is 95X Live. It's brought to you by Mess's Fireworks. And this is Vance Joy.
Thank you so much, Dixon. What a pleasure. Thanks for the great interview. Okay, here we go. I've been waiting for the tides to change, for the waves to send you my way. I see you, darling, but you pixelate. It gets hard to take these days, but we'll hold the line. I won't let go, 'cause I'll be there when you can finally make it on. Oh, I messed it up. And I don't mind, 'cause we both know that we'll be fine when you can finally make it on. Because when I'm in a room with you, that missing piece is found. You know, when you're by my side, darling, nothing can bring us down. I remember happy wasted days, summer's golden haze in our eyes, lifting you above the breaking waves, memories floating back to my mind. You said, hold the line, I won't let go, 'cause I'll be there when you can finally make it on. And I don't mind, 'cause we both know that we'll be fine when you can finally make it on. Because when I'm in a room with you, that missing piece is found. You know, when you're by my side, darling, nothing can bring us down. It's like when you're far away from me, I get lost in the crowd. Because when I'm in a room with you, that missing piece is found. Oh, I won't waste a minute when you're here, and we're finally in the clear. When every day is like the last, I just keep holding fast. Because when I'm in a room with you, that missing piece is found. You know, when you're by my side, darling, nothing can bring us down. It's like when you're far away from me, I get lost in the crowd. Because when I'm in a room with you, that missing piece is found. Thank you.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dixon. Cheers, mate.